Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I have a mooncake here waiting for me. It was just dropped off as I was about to press record, and so consequently I have a canine person just to my side lusting after said mooncake. This canine person will not be getting a piece of said mooncake, but hope springs eternal. So it occurred to me that I have not recently done any reading from my book Against Fascism, and I'm going to read a few poems. But before I do that, I'm going to read a couple of poems by Claude McKay. You've heard these poems before. If you've followed my channel, it's always a good time to hear Claude McKay. Right now, a couple of days ago, I posted a protest video, or a video about the protest in Chicago pertaining to the Texas lawmakers who came up to Illinois, and James Tallarico gave a wonderful speech laying down exactly what the situation was. These representatives have since gone back, and further developments have ensued. Right now, the situation in the national spotlight is involving a representative surnamed Collier, Collier. I forget her first name, but because, and I will put a link to a Heather Cox Richardson video that talks about this in greater detail. She refused to sign a sort of permission to be saddled with a guard 24/7. So she has been against any kind of legitimate legal precedent, I am sure. She has been involuntarily detained in the courthouse, I guess, and the Republican Party wants this representative, who is a Democrat, to be present on the grounds so that they can pass this gerrymandering, redistricting. It is known by now that the Republican Party cannot win unless it cheats. And so this is all about that, trying to extract 5 more Republican seats out of the state of Texas. And Representative Collier decided that she was drawing a line in the sand. She was not going to sign such a permission. And so push has come to shove, and these Republican operators at the directive of the Republican governor of Texas have done what they've done. That is to say, they have restrained her, they have imprisoned her, and I believe she has filed a writ of habeas corpus. She has been illegally, I am sure, detained. So everything is up in the air. There have been many protesters there who have gone to the Capitol, I guess, or the courthouse, or wherever it is. But this representative's actions are very much exemplary of the type of choice any one of us might be called upon to make. I believe other of the representatives did sign this document, Perhaps they were not so well ethically honed in their outlook as Representative Collier. Regardless, it brought to mind a couple of Claude McKay poems. Number one is the great sonnet, Baptism. Into the furnace let me go alone. Stay you without in terror of the heat. I will go naked in, for thus 'tis sweet, into the weird depths of the hottest zone. I will not quiver in the frailest bone. You will not note a flicker of defeat. My heart shall tremble not its fate to meet. My mouth give utterance to any moan. The yawning oven spits forth fiery spears. Red aspish tongues shout wordlessly my name. Desire destroys, consumes my mortal fears, transforming me into a shape of flame. I will come out back to your world of tears, a stronger soul within a finer frame. So this poem is one that can be drawn upon for courage if one finds oneself in such a situation. The Republican fascists, the entire Republican Party has set its store by fascism. It has allowed itself to be entirely co-opted to the powers of fascism. I keep looking at the wrong place because I have switched device, and my old device had me look here, and my new device has me look here. So pardon me that I'm looking off in the wrong direction. It takes some getting used to. Now, where was I? These Republican fascists are dreadfully fearful of losing at the midterm elections. Donald Trump has joked that he may start some kind of a war that would permit him to suspend those elections. One cannot take such jokes as empty or idle threats, to be sure, but it is incumbent upon all of us to believe that the elections are going to occur and to fight like hell to make sure that they occur and that people who want this democracy to continue come out and vote, even despite the potential for imminent peril. So, on that note, a good poem by Claude McKay for any time, especially a time of crisis, is If We Must Die. And so I will read that. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying but fighting back. President Donald Trump has recently talked about scrubbing the archives at the Smithsonian, as indeed many private textbook companies have already scrubbed their texts, so as to make the institution of slavery seem as though it was a good one, a beneficial one even for those enslaved. This is no mistake. It is not something that is looking specifically toward the past. It is looking toward the future. The Republicans have made clear that they want to use the incarceration of many of these wrongly incarcerated in concentration camps across the country. They want to use them for the involuntary workforce of big corporations. So the desire to scrub the past is not simply to make the institution of slavery as it existed 100 years ago and so forth less harmful than it was. No, it is to set up the would-be owners of the future to own persons, to own the lives of persons, and justify it to themselves. So, because of that, drawing upon the struggles of the American black community is probably a necessary recourse for everybody now. This is the same struggle, merely continued. When Donald Trump won the election in November, it was a huge setback, but the fight is not over, and the forces of liberty, or the forces who favor liberty, even universal liberty, have to marshal their strength and courage. So, I will read a few poems, not particularly germane, but this book came out a couple of months ago. I will put a link in the description box for my Lulu site where you can obtain a copy if you choose. It was a very early response to the taking of power by this fascist regime. So this one is titled Wrongful Detention of Citizens. Across the nation, citizens born in the USA have been detained pursuant to their being hauled away. In Arizona, one man at Florence Detention Center allegedly confessed that he illegally did enter. So too in Florida, yet another, as ICE agents declared, admitted he had crossed the border illegally. They blared, in either case vociferous, a lie patently false. Detention's wrong to justify, which wrongfulness appalls. Rampant across the countryside, ICE agents run amok. Provable often that they lied their victim out of luck. In Florida and in Arizona, these deportations failed. Alas, due process is ignored and all our rights assailed. That was written on October 21st, so those attempts failed, but other attempts have followed and have been successful, I believe. As I say, we see a Democratic lawmaker or a lawmaker of the Democrat Party now being held. So the Republican Party is imprisoning its political opponents. Alex Padilla, the senator in California, was also detained similarly and prevented from speaking at a public press conference in the federal building, actually where he has an office, I believe. So, another one from that same day. This is titled Remembering the Missing. When people can be disappeared based upon allegations, it sets a problem more than weird, and though you're losing patience, do not forget, but list their names and daily do review them. The autocrat that makes false claims would rather you not knew them. Until these persons are restored to pre-abduction status, remember that when slanders soared, 'twas no divine afflatus. Much of the charges was disproved easily early on. Due process skipped, they got removed, then rabbit holes sent down. The only way to get them out, injustice to revoke, is not forget, but shout and shout, the beehive so to poke. The criminals behind these plots should have their days in court, for now the missing kept in thoughts will hasten time's report. You may recall early on, several hundred men were abducted and sent to a prison in El Salvador, most of whom were absolutely innocent of any criminal deeds. I believe most of these have been released, I think as part of some kind of a swap, but one must remember that this regime is not taking temporary setbacks as in any way fatal to their long-term goals. The long-term goals remain unwavering in their minds. This one is titled, What the Fascists Can't Stand, and it's from April 14th. Is it incompetence or else malevolence which drives these fatal fascist carousels of action and reaction and retraction? One loses footing, reeling from impaction, while each schemer connives. Frame not the question either or, for this regime is both, nor it a fracture at the core. Malevolent, their selfish aim is still to harvest even accidental ill, nor are they ever loath. They are both sinister and dumb. The two work hand in hand. And so it is disasters come. But they are threatened most by what's not either. Sincerity or smarts leaves them the seether, as neither can they stand. I'll close off with a short one titled The Great Twilight. It must be said that white ain't right, and furthermore, that old ain't gold. So welcome to the great twilight, and bill of crap you've all been sold. Well, even some of those who bought the lie are starting to realize their folly. Unfortunately, that election having turned out as it did, it is much harder to reverse, and certainly much of the change will never be reversed entirely, even if we triumph over this fascist league. But it remains that we each individually, or even some collectively in group, may be called upon to go into the furnace alone. Our lives may be put on the line as well. This is the situation we are in. Thank you for